Hey everybody, welcome to Commerce Central. Today we have Vic Pusser with Lawrenceburg Utility Systems. Vic is one of those economic development partners that we cannot do what we do at the Chamber without. In fact, utilities is very interesting. I didn't think I'd be that interested in it when I got out of college. I didn't know much about it, but it really is one of those key drivers for economic development in our community. And so Vic, first introduce yourself, tell us kind of about LUS, how long you've been there, and then what you do at LUS.
Okay, Vic Pusser, General Manager at Lawrenceburg Utility Systems. I am a civil engineer by trade, so I've been at Lawrenceburg Utility Systems since 2005. Started in gas, water, sewer side, built the wastewater treatment plant, took over as manager in 2007. So a little bit about Lawrenceburg Utility Systems. We cover the whole county with electric. We have roughly 22,000 customers, 8,000 water customers, 7,000 gas customers, 5,000 wastewater customers. Unique thing about LUS is kind of a one-stop shop, and that's kind of what we sell to prospects when they come in, that you don't have to deal with 5 or 6 different people. You can deal with LUS. We serve all your utility needs. We get all our power from TVA. Unique thing about us is we have an abundance of 161 lines, so we have 5 delivery points, with our 6th delivery point going to go online 1st of March. We have capacity at each of our substations. We have capacity at the water plant, capacity at the wastewater plant. On the natural gas side, we take gas from 2 different suppliers. We have 3 different gate stations. So that's kind of what separates us from your normal just electric utility or water utility.
Right. Well, and it's funny. So I've heard that now for my 6.5 years here at the Chamber of how important it is to have everything, one-stop shop all together. But you were talking about delivery points, TVA, and let's dive into that a little bit more, because public power model is a good model, and we're lucky. Last year when we saw Snowmageddon hit Texas and then it hit us, we kept the lights on and they weren't able to, and I think we contribute that partly to the public power model. But tell us exactly what that looks like. TVA generates, and then
TVA generates all the power. Yep. So TVA has multiple sources that they generate from. They have nuclear, they have coal, they have natural gas, combined cycle, they have some renewables. The good thing about TVA is they serve parts of 7 states.
Yep.
And with TVA, their reliability, we always like to tout the 5 nines, 99.999% reliable. Yep. So we get 100% of our power from TVA. They generate it, they will it to us on their 161 lines. We have 5 different substations, so we take it at 5, fix and take it at our 6th. So we have essentially an endless supply of power, of reliable power.
Right. That
TVA is essentially owned by the federal government, but they're their own entity. So it's ran better than the federal government, more reliable than the federal government. One thing that most customers don't realize is, 80 cents of every dollar that we charge our customer goes back to TVA for us to purchase that power. So we pay TVA 80 cents for that power. We charge the customer 20 cents. So we operate on a 20% threshold.
Yeah. Well, it really is a business. You mentioned, TVA operating better than the federal government, and it's true. Like, TVA hasn't had like a federal allocation in decades, if I'm not mistaken, because it's run so efficiently. But TVA is interested, and we'll have to have Courtney or one of our other partners at TVA come on sometime soon. And Courtney is our field representative, regional rep or regional consultant for economic development. But TVA is interested in 3 things: energy, the environment, and economic development. LUS is interested in economic development in the same way, because we bring more customers, whether it's residential, commercial, industrial. Talk about that real fast. Tell us about the growth we saw last year.
Right. Well, the growth we saw last year is we added over 300 customers last year. So the last 3 years, our growth has steadily increased, and we kind of, say that it's all coming from the north. Well, it's yes, it is, but it's coming from the west too. We see a ton of folks from California moving in. We see a ton of people coming down from the national market. So we have steadily grown. That's new construction. That's commercial. But the thing with the economic development that why LUS is so entwined in economic development. But yeah, it does grow our customer base, but it gives our customers places to work, better quality of life. They make more money. Then in turn, they can pay their bill. So, that's why that we're so involved with the chamber, with the economic development side.
Yeah, that's right. And again, there have been, I don't think I can recall one off the top of my head, site visits when we host prospective companies or meetings with existing companies where Vic is not at the table with us. And again, that sets us apart from other communities. As Vic mentioned, we have that one-stop shop. I think there's only a couple other counties in the state that really have the same model that we have. I think Madison County, Jackson is one of them, and there may be another one. But that's the name of the game right now. So I think the biggest customer as far as electricity goes in the county might be TFT.
TFT, they're a 5-megawatt customer.
Yeah, and that's a big load of power, historically speaking. But what we're seeing now, especially with electric vehicle supplying companies looking to locate in our area, we're seeing what on average 40, 50.
Yeah, I think the last projects that you've brought in, it's the lowest load I saw is 45 megawatts. 45 megawatts to 150 megawatts.
Yeah.
That's 5 times bigger than our biggest customer right now.
Yeah.
And that's just on the electric side. And then you throw the gas, water, sewer loads on top of that. So, once we land one of these, it's going to be a game changer for LUS, game changer for Lawrence County, game changer for the residents of the county for a place to work. So, it's great things going on.
I forgot who it was, but they were talking about, like, the name of the game right now is workforce and utilities. And if we could, show that we have capacities, we'll make the short list. And we've seen that happen, but especially on the water, wastewater, sewer side, water, wastewater, natural gas side. So let's talk about that real fast. You built the plant, I guess back in the Murray days, if you will. And so it was built to support a large industry.
Yes.
Today, that plant is rated at what? And like, what can you treat?
So water plant, we can treat about 9.8 million gallons a day. And that was back in the Murray days when Murray was taking 4.5 to 5 million gallons a day. Our plant was upgraded to supply that. Right now we're pumping a little less than 3 million gallons. So we're sitting on 6.5 to 7 million gallons of excess capacity a day, which is huge.
Yeah.
Because when these companies come in, they want the capacity, they want it now.
Yep.
And with water and sewer, you can't get that overnight.
Right.
It's, you have to design it, you have to get it state approved, you have to bid it, you have to procure the materials, you have to build it. So you're looking at 2.5 year process.
Yeah.
Well, we already have it in place. We have the infrastructure in place in the ground where when a prospect comes in, I can say, hey, I can give you 2 million gallons of water a day today.
Yeah.
Or I can accept 3 million gallons of wastewater today. And that's huge because with the timelines that these companies are operating on, with the supply chain issues you have right now, we're ready to operate right now.
So any consultant watching this or any of our economic development partners, I'll be honest, sites and buildings are few and far between in our region. It's hard, but we're utility ready. So if you can come help us develop sites, that'd be great because we're ready to go. Especially again, as more EV suppliers look, and it's more than just EV. There's a lot of food looking right now. We talked about that, I think, in our economic development year-end episode. But we're prepared. Sewer plant, just touch on it. I know you just mentioned you can pump 3 million, or treat 3 million.
Sewer plant, we started the design of the sewer plant back in 2002.
Yep.
Essentially, that's kind of what led to the merger with the utility board, with the power board, with the gas, water, and sewer. So started pouring the first concrete 2005. That's when I came to work here. So that's why they hired me, was to kind of oversee building of the plant. So we got the plant online, got it built in 2007. In that time frame between 2005 and 2007, Murray shut down.
Yeah.
So we designed it based on taking this huge load of wastewater from Murray, Ohio.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
We lost the industry, we lost the jobs, but we're sitting on a brand new plant with capacity.
Yeah.
So that's the reason now why we can go for these big food processing plants. We can go for these big EV battery plants because they're huge wastewater users. Food's huge wastewater users. We have, essentially, we take about 1.2 million gallons of water a day. We can treat 4.5 with up to 11.25 coming through the plant. So we're sitting on a ton of capacity with infrastructure in the ground.
Yeah, yeah. And that's, again, it's a game changer when it's a differentiator, right? That like every consultant or company goes to community to community to community, and they look at a piece of land, and I hate to say it, but land is land. But to sit there and say, like, yes, you can flow 2 million water, and we can gravity flow 3 million back. That's a big deal. So let's talk about. We'll cut this part out because I'm trying to think. Let's talk about, I guess, day-to-day function of your business. Again, because you're a chamber member, we're interested in your business doing well. But obviously, you deal with the public. You are I guess technically a government entity.
Yes.
But you have a customer service function. So, main complaints you get are, my bill's too high, right?
Bill's
so
too high.
what are some things that maybe the public can do to reduce their bill? And obviously, I'm sitting here thinking, well, don't use as much utilities.
It's energy efficiency.
Yeah.
Look and see where your house is leaking energy. Whether that be weather stripping, whether that be windows, whether that be you running your thermostat up and down all day long. On the water side, it's energy efficient appliances. Low flow toilets. Water efficient washing machines, dishwashers, things like that. On the wastewater side, just make sure your toilet's not leaking. You don't have a flush valve leaking through. That's the biggest, probably high water bill that we have. Somebody has a bathroom in their house that they typically don't use. They have somebody come over, uses that bathroom, and it runs for 30 days. Oof. And, depending on the billing cycle, we hadn't had a meter reader go out and read it. And so you get 25 days worth of a high bill. Now with AMI coming along, once we're able to change everything out to AMI on the water side, I can see that high usage for 24 hours. So I can say, we can call you and say, hey, Ryan, you've used 1,000 gallons of water overnight. Right. What are you doing? And then you can go look at that. So, but that's coming, on AMI, we're fully AMI deployed on the electric side. Mm-hmm. We're about halfway deployed AMI gas side. Having trouble with supply chain issues, getting AMI modules in for water meters and for gas meters. So steadily changing those. Probably have about 500 AMI water meters out there. And like I said, we've got a fully deployed on the electric side. So from a customer service side, that's a game changer from having the AMI. That's automated metering infrastructure. That's, now we can read your meter from our office. We can turn it on and off. If you buy a place and want to come in and turn the power on, you pay your fees. We turn it on right then. It's on when you get home.
Yeah, and that's what I love about even the app. Is it the Smart Hub app?
Smart Hub app.
Like I can look and I keep my thermostat pretty much on like 68 degrees year round, and sometimes that's enough in the summertime. And I'll be honest, in the last few days especially, I've had to figure out like, okay, do I need to turn it up the heat a little bit, knowing that that's going to cost me more money. So I use a space heater, right? Well, I can get on my Smart Hub app and I can see, man, that thing is using a lot of power, and I'm just like,
you can track daily usage.
Yeah. Of course, I'm a nerd that does that, and some people don't. But then here's the thing: everyone gets on Facebook, right? And they're like, "Oh man, my power bill went way up. The rates are too high, and TVA, blah blah." And I'm like, that's not really.
No, because now we get those calls with AMI data. We can pull up and say, "Here's how much you used last year.
Yeah.
This time period. Here's how much you used this time. Here's how much you used yesterday."
Yeah.
So the technology that's out there is just unreal. And going back to the AMI, one example that I would use, somebody forgot to pay their bill. Mm-hmm. So they called in, got our automated system, made a payment, and within 6 seconds of making that payment, their power's back on at their house. And we never had to roll a truck out there, or never had to send anybody. Wow. So that's the power of technology that we have now.
Let's talk about just doing life in Lawrence County. So you're from Lawrenceburg originally.
From Lawrenceburg, grew up in Lawrenceburg, went to Lawrence County High School, graduated, went to Tennessee Tech, got a civil engineering degree, worked in Nashville for about 9 years, decided that Nashville's not the place I wanted to raise a family. Yeah. So moved back home. So home now is in Loretta. Got 2 kids.
That's awesome.
11 and 8, play sports. We're in every sport you can imagine, and in Loretta, Lawrenceburg, everywhere.
Yeah, and that's really, again, like when people think about LUS or the chamber, I think one of your commercials or one of your videos, like we live here too.
Yeah, we do.
And we love it here. We had Cameron Hoffmeyer here, and that was kind of his experience, right? He was like, the Nashville lifestyle isn't for everybody. The rural lifestyle isn't for everybody. Let's talk about some cool experiences, maybe in site visits or economic development activities. So if just on the spot, do you have like a favorite prospect story or?
Probably favorite prospect story is we were at Team Lawrence Commerce Park showing greenfield. And if you don't understand what a greenfield is, it's just an open field. It's where nothing's been built before. So we have roughly 72 acres. So we had to show this, and we had I think it was a Korean prospect. And so we're trying to figure out how to show it. And they just jumped up in the back of the truck. So they're in the back of Ryan's truck, and I don't know if I was driving around. I think Ryan was in the back of the truck with them. And they just thought that was the coolest thing. We drove them over 72 acres, and they're in the back of the truck getting to stand up, and we drive all over the whole thing. That was probably the most memorable one that I can think of.
I remember Victoria, who was the project manager at that time, taking pictures and just kind of freaking out. I mean, because that's atypical, right? Like your prospect doesn't just hop in the back of the truck, but they did. I'm actually wanting to say that company, I think that company ended up in Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, for various reasons. But I've got to tell you, my favorite, I guess, memory from our time here was actually the Craig Manufacturing when we went to New Brunswick. And I was on a health kick, and Vic is always on a health kick, and so like thanks for being like a motivator and inspirational or whatever. But they're on the Atlantic time, and so they're 2 hours ahead of Central time where we're at. And we had spent an entire day traveling to get up there, and this is mid-August or end of August, 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And I thought, let's go for a run. And we woke up at 4:30 or 5 o'clock, which obviously is 2:30 or 3 o'clock our time, and we went for a run. But
in a potato
field, and that was an experience I don't think we can get back between that and the world's longest covered bridge up there. And so that was probably one of my favorite experiences. But
and just growing up in Lawrenceburg, going to Lawrence County High School, you don't have you're not exposed to all the different cultures, and just German prospects, Korean prospects, Japanese, all the different cultures that you see, and then actually us having to learn it to see, okay, what do we not say that's going to offend somebody? How do we greet somebody? How do we accept a business card? Just those little things that you don't really think about, but we have to learn them on the fly.
And then the expectation of the different the cultures too. So for example, I think we were in Atlanta, and a question was asked by a consultant, and it's a fair question. Everything's on the table when you're trying to invest money in our community, and we want you to ask questions. I think they asked about how can we get all the power lines underground, and I think they meant all of them, and so that threw us for a loop. But that's what's so great about having a partner like Lawrenceburg Utility Systems. I think it was December 2019 we had a prospect in the room over here. That company ultimately went to Mississippi, but they were asking about water capacities, and I think there was this mic drop moment where Vic said, well, we have all the water, and like just everyone there was like, well, okay, cool. Like it was really fun, but you never know what you're going to get. Each business is different.
Right, and then just to see how the community reacts when TVA lands a helicopter, on our site, and everybody's driving by because you got this huge helicopter landing. What's going on? We've got a tent set up. We're flying a drone. Got a Sprinter van. It's just things like that.
Yeah, no, it is a lot of fun. And what's cool is I think I counted it up. We get about 100 pre-COVID, 100 RFIs, a year, and it with a good inventory, it's easy to turn some of those into prospect visits. But on average, we're lucky to get 15 to 25 company visits a year. When we had a speculative building, they were rolling like this because existing buildings didn't exist. And today it's the same. This year's been good. I mean, well, I guess it's 2022. Last year was good. We converted.
This year's going to be better.
100%. But it's fun to convert them and see the team at the table. And that's the thing. This is the team. It's the chamber. It's LUS. It's TVA, and it's the State Department of Economic Development. And it takes a village to do what we do. But there's nothing better. What it's all about is you're going into Tractor Supply and you see the kid that got the job at Modine after they expanded, right?
And plus we're all competitive, right?
Oh yeah.
So we're competing against these other communities.
Yeah.
So we want to win.
Yeah.
So when we do win, and then it actually benefits people and gives them a place to work, and
And our profession is so competitive. I meant to tell you this, Vic. I forgot. I don't think I did, and I don't know if I told you either. It was a pretty big flex by the Memphis Chamber, but they sent out Christmas cards across the state. And so Susan and Ted, if y'all are watching this, good job.
Oh yeah,
but
I saw the Ford one.
Yeah, it was a Christmas card. It's like season's greetings, and it's like we want Ford.
It was their site. Yeah, it was the site. It was the mega site and everything. Yeah,
no, it was great. But
so that was their mic drop.
Absolutely,
it was a great Christmas card.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, no, but we'll do the same. We'll hopefully land a big company soon, and we'll invite our partners. And honestly, we're going to invite some of our competition to that because it's taken our friends in Jackson, it's taken our friends in Murray County, it's taken on both ends because we support each other because we're all Team Tennessee.
Well,
right?
It's such a regional model now.
Yeah.
And people want to live in Lawrence County because it's a great place to live.
Yeah.
So, if Murray County's successful, that still gives our people a place to go work.
Absolutely.
Because, we don't want them leaving Lawrence County, but if they leave and then come back every night,
Yeah, well, they're still spending their money here.
Right.
They're shopping local.
Raising their kids, going to school.
That's right. It's a lot of fun. So, Vic, we have something called Final Word where you just pick a word.
Okay.
And I keep forgetting to tell people about this.
No, it's better when you put them on the spot because it's more genuine.
Yeah. So, Speaker Sexton picked opportunity. Cameron Hoffmeyer picked eclectic.
Eclectic, yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
That was off the wall.
Uh,
No offense, Cameron.
Contentment. And I kind of go religious on you for a second because we just gotta realize how to be content in whatever situation we're in.
Yeah.
Like Paul was content; he was in jail, not a good situation for him. But you have to be content in your situation. Not mean that you don't want to do better or you don't want to be successful, but be content in the situation that you're in while you're working to be better.
Ooh, I like that.
Man,
I like that a lot, and that's. I got to tell you, when you say that, it just reminds me that, while we are pushing so much for progress, how do we preserve what we have and the quality of life we have here? And I'll be honest, I'm content. I don't want us to change, right? I don't want to be big city. Like that's just not who we are.
That's not our identity.
Right, but at the same time.
But just because we're content don't mean we don't want to be better.
Yeah,
exactly.
But be content in that situation that you've been presented with now.
Yeah.
While you're working towards that.
Man, that's a feel-good end. All right, well, that's awesome. Thank you for Vic for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of Commerce Central. One thing we forgot to do, actually, before we end, Vic, if anyone needs anything from LUS, how do they do that these days?
762-7161, Smart Hub app, www.elburgus.com.
And you're all over the social media too.
All over social media. Lee Boyd does a great job, puts it out there. So.
That's right. All right. Thanks, everybody. Boom.
Bang.
Cool.